Let's see. I got somebody saying the audio was breaking up. System check was okay, so it must be on your end or in transmission. Sorry about that, Vernon. I take it from the fact that we still have 80 people online, and we had at one point in excess of 95 people online, that whatever audio problem we were having must have cleared up. But if you were experiencing audio difficulties, I do apologize for that. We not heard reports of that before, but I will check the recording of this webinar and make sure that that the audio there is good. If you did have audio problems, there will be a recorded version of either this session, or if the problem was actually systemic, it'll be the next session, the one in the evening. So you can go back and listen to the recording. Question from Rich. Good to hear from you, Rich. And by the way, I got your email. We'll be responding to that a little later. I'm kind of backlogged now, but Rich's question: your view of hiring seems to reflect a test and evaluation engineering paradigm. If an employer's test focus is tool-centric versus engineering-centric, does the hiring manager follow their professional gut or hire the person that pushes the tools? Okay, good questions. Now, on this issue of gut, one of the things that my business partner has impressed upon me, and I've never gone wrong listening to this, is that you should trust your gut. And if your gut is telling you that somebody is not going to work out, and you know why this is a defensible thing, it's not just I don't like that person because they're different, because that gets you into discrimination type of territory. But if it's a defensible thing, your gut saying, I'm not confident that this person is going to be able to test our system because they don't know X, Y, or Z, then I think you need to follow your gut. As far as hiring a person that pushes the tools, now, no. I mean, I would always, and I'm mindful of your employer, Rich, too, but so, no offense meant here, but I'm always skeptical of somebody who is dogmatic, who is a quote-unquote true believer. I really want to see people that have healthy skepticism about anything that might be perceived as a silver bullet, as Brooks put it. So I would not hire someone who pushed the tools. Now, if there are a lot of tools in use in your testing operation, then by all means, those capabilities should show up in your task analysis and be a very critical part of it. So I am not by any means saying, oh, don't worry about tools, that'll take care of itself. No, I mean, if it's central, then it's central, and you need to interview for it. But again, from an attitude point of view, if somebody's coming in and they're like, this tool solves every problem, I mean, give me JUnit, and then I can, make all the quality problems go away. Well, that's a person who's going to be a real pain in the neck, constantly advocating things, not very open-minded, very dogmatic, so you don't want people like that for sure. I hope that addressed the question, Rich. It was a real good one. Rodney asks, how do you interview so that people not hyper-focused or not focused enough on tasks, after you hire, but how do you interview for it? Yeah, boy, that's this gets into the behavioral interviewing question, and I realize that you asked this question before I got into that, but let me go back to the behavioral interviewing and tie that in. What you would try to do is say, ask about situations where people were forced to make a decision about how much time to spend on writing a bug report or writing a test case or doing something else, and see what they say about how they made that decision, and then circle in on this and get even more specific and say, great, well, tell me about a situation where you felt that you were really challenged in your ability to maintain proper focus, and how did you resolve that? And that'll really get you some insight into how people think this way. And, if they say, well, I don't resolve that. If I'm confused about what the right thing is to do next, I go and ask the manager. Well, that might be the right answer for a junior level person, but if you're hiring a more senior level person, that's just absolutely a disqualifier to me, or an indication that they've worked with this horrible micromanagers in the past, and you might want to explore that a little before you reject somebody out of hand. But if somebody's going to just sit stunned when they're at a loss for what to do next until you give them more guidance, then that's not really the kind of person you want to have. I don't think. That's not the kind of person I hire. Rodney's got another follow-up question here. How do you interview so that people will apply critical thinking to a specification? Many people that are good at finding bugs have a hard time finding issues in specs. Great question, Rodney. And again, now this is going to get us to, I'll tie back to audition interviews here. Give somebody a spec that you know has problems in it. So for example, we have a couple specifications that we use for our training courses. One's a network of public internet access kiosks, and the other is a banking application. And those specs have been through lengthy reviews as part of classes and so forth. I know where the bugs are, and we've got those documented. So what I would do is give somebody that spec, and if that's really central to what they're going to do, and say, you've got 15 minutes to read this thing, and I want you to come back and have identify as many problems as you can, and explain to me what the problem is. And you want people to identify both the kind of the subtle things as well as the trivial things as well as the serious things. So serious things would be like, there's a contradiction between two parts of the document that have to do with handling personal private information. That's obviously a serious problem, right? The subtle stuff like, well, you've got one version number in the footer on the first page and a different version number in the footer on the subsequent pages. Does that indicate some sort of configuration management problem, or just somebody forgot to update the versioning information in the Word document? And then trivial things would be stuff like misspellings and grammatical errors that make the documents potentially confusing, and you want people to be able to find all three, but obviously somebody who can only find the simple things like spelling problems and that sort of stuff, you don't want to hire someone like that, because that person's going to reinforce the really unfortunate stereotype that some people have about testers, which is that we're just these sort of zero value add beside the point nitpickers, and if that perception exists amongst any of the stakeholders of the testing organization in your company, that's, you really have to reverse that, but you just don't want that to ever arise, right? So, and then that gets back to focus, right? Focus on finding the substantive problems, not trivialities. Let's see, got a question from Roy. Roy, good to see you back again. Is this presentation going to be available at the website? Absolutely. It will be. The recorded version will be posted real soon now, in the next few days, either of this session or of the evening session, depending on which one makes a better recording. And the PowerPoint slides are in a PDF form. I believe they are on the basic library. You got to go to the very bottom of the basic library page, and you should find them there. Gene asks, may I have a copy of the Excel sheet, the skills analysis matrix? Absolutely. It is out on the RBCS website, rbcs-us.com, and it's either, if you go to the resources tab, it's either on the basic library or the digital library. The basic and digital libraries are organized by, well, there's like present